What's up, guys? Welcome back to the show. I'm so sorry I've not done a show for a while. Bank holiday, was partying hard. Then Tuesday came, and unfortunately I got food poisoning from having one of those chicken, I think bacon wraps. Yeah, man, messed me up big time, man. I felt better on Wednesday, but still had to rest and stuff like that. And now it's Thursday, 2 days later, I feel much better. Still not 100%, but well enough to get back to giving you guys some of this content. So, since the last show, Premier League champions, Manchester City, that was done much earlier. Arsenal finishing off the season with a big win, Xhaka scoring 2 goals. And relegation confirmed. Those were Southampton, Leeds and Leicester going down to the Championship. So, let's start off with Arsenal. Am I impressed by the 5-0 win? No. Pathetic. Arsenal should be called No Pressure FC. Because when there's no pressure, they play good. But when there's pressure, garbage. Man, listen. And I'm seeing all of these fans, do you know what I mean? Just covering up the failure, clapping away. It was failure. Arsenal bottled it. They flopped. Yeah, it was a massive win at home, but No Pressure FC, they need to learn to deliver when the pressure is on. And how are they going to do that next season? I think this experience this season will help, but signing 2, 3, 4 top players will be the way they do it, with top mentalities. So, you know, in terms of the win, yeah, it was good. Xhaka was good. He scored 2 goals and all that. But, you know, in terms of the fan base, let's just have this season for what it is. We were on top of the league for most of the season, and Arsenal bottled it when the pressure was on. And they had a massive 5-0 win at the end of the season. Nonsense. It don't really matter, does it? Where were those wins against Southampton, against West Ham? Where were those wins then? Non-existent. Bottled it. Flopped. Where was that performance against Brighton? So, yeah, you know, it was a decent season at the end, but let's just say how it is. Arsenal bottled it. And I'm not one of these Arsenal fans that have such low standards. I want my team to be the best, and I want my team to be challenging. And how we lost this league, being in such a strong position, it is bottling it. So I'm not going to celebrate and get on them 5-0 win at home. That's how we should have dealt with West Ham. That's how we should have dealt with Brighton, and that's how we should have dealt with the other one that we bottled it to. I mean, yeah, it was just bad. It's just bad. And I think that Arsenal fans in general should stop being so delusional and have higher standards, and stop being okay with failure and mediocrity. Because I'm an Arsenal fan who demands greatness and wants my team to be great. As for Granit Xhaka, probably going to be his last game for Arsenal, even though Mikel Arteta came out during the press conference and said something like, who said this is Xhaka's last game, or who said Xhaka's leaving. So a bit of mixed signals there. But, you know, according to the media, Xhaka's leaving. There hasn't been much from Xhaka. There hasn't been much from the club. So I don't know if it was his last game. If it was his last game, my thoughts on Xhaka: 70% shit, 30% good. He had a very good season this season, but he isn't of the standard that Arsenal need. An upgrade on Xhaka is needed. I wouldn't mind if Xhaka left and if Smith Rowe took that position, or he was coached in that number 8 position. I think Smith Rowe has a higher ceiling. He has a higher ceiling than Xhaka, and I think Smith Rowe is the best out of all the Hale End graduates. I'm a massive fan of Emile Smith Rowe. So yeah, you know, do you know what? To get rid of Xhaka might not be such a bad idea. You know, he's not going to get any better now. And his Arsenal career has probably been 70% shit, 30% good. Most of it at the start of his career, and the best season he had this season. Where it might leave a hole in Arsenal would be the leadership qualities he brings. There weren't enough to get Arsenal over the line this season. They need more quality, but you know, you can get rid of him and get players in with more quality and with the characters and the leadership capabilities to get Arsenal over the line in those vital games. So, you know, thank you, Xhaka, for the service. If you are leaving, if you are staying, then your leadership and your quality will help in the next coming season. As for the relegation, Leeds down, Leicester down, Southampton down. Southampton was pretty obvious. Leeds and Leicester, it all depended on the last day, but they flopped. Leeds have been absolutely shocking. I do think they should stick with Sam Allardyce, and I think that he will get them back up to the to the Premier League straight away. You know, teams that get relegated to the Championship, they do have an advantage with the cash they get from the Premier League, so they can use that cash wisely. And I think Sam Allardyce would be a good enough coach to get them back up straight away. The problem is, how do they consolidate their Premier League survival when they do get back up? That's something that they have to look at, looking at teams like Brighton and Bournemouth, how they did it. Southampton, how they did it for a long period of time. But, you know, defensively, Leeds were shocking. And you know, most of the players look like they just down tools months ago. So yeah, and as for Leicester, they're probably going to get raided now. Players like Maddison, Tielemans, they're going to be off. They have a lot of good players at Leicester. Ndidi, I don't imagine he'll stay there. They were too good to go down, but you know, it looks like a lot of those players' heads got turned. They down tools earlier in the season. Brendan couldn't win them over. And now, you know, they probably took a bit too long to get rid of Brendan, or Brendan left, or Mitchell consent, however it was. But, you know, can they get back up straight away? I think they'll struggle more than Leeds. I think Leicester are going to struggle. I think a lot of their big names will go. Maddison, Tielemans, Ndidi, but Leicester are a big club. Leicester are a big club, and I have no doubt that they will be back in the Premier League sooner rather than later. It will just be interesting to see how they navigate their return back to the top flight. Southampton, they've been in the Premier League a long time. They managed to consolidate their Premier League status for a long time. But, you know, selling all their best players, Van Dijk, Sadio Mane over years, not recruiting properly. This is sort of what put them in this position. If they can somehow try and, you know, get some of those academy boys through, but Southampton does have a good academy. If they can get some of those academy boys coming up and recruit wisely, I see no reason why they can't come back up sooner rather than later also. But my favourites to come back up straight away would be Leeds United. I just want to talk about the Bundesliga because Borussia Dortmund had a massive opportunity to prize the Bundesliga title away from Bayern Munich, and that was an opportunity they squandered at home, drawing 2-2. They had to win or hope that they got a point, and Bayern won, but Bayern won away from home. And you know, it was basically down to the wire, seeing if Dortmund could get the third goal to make it 3-2, win the game and win their Bundesliga title, their first one they've had since Klopp. But they didn't manage to do it. Massive bottle job. They were at home. It was only one game. I've seen things online saying which was a bigger bottle job, Arsenal or Borussia Dortmund. Definitely Dortmund, because they only had one game. Arsenal had about, you know, the whole title running, about 10 games to try and hold their nerve. They obviously didn't have the mental strength to do it, bottled it. But, you know, Dortmund put themselves in a great position. One game to go. and they bottled it at home. And that Borussia Dortmund stadium is a massive stadium, very intimidating, probably one of the best well-supported football teams, the best atmosphere stadiums in Europe, in the world, and they still couldn't get over the line. Just shows you what pressure does. And I do think that Dortmund and Arsenal are similar sort of status, caliber of club. You know, they've had periods of success in their history, but without having sustained success. You know, Dortmund are still one of the most successful clubs in German history. You know, probably second behind Bayern Munich, and Arsenal, you know, is one of the most successful clubs in English football, third behind Manchester United and Liverpool. So they are top clubs, and they're basically on the same sort of level in terms of status and caliber. But I think that the Borussia Dortmund bottle job was worse because it was only one game. Doesn't make it any better. They both bottled it. The main thing I want to focus on is the Europa League final. Sevilla versus Roma. Sevilla winning on penalties. It was a very good game. I watched it. I think that Roma were a much better team in the first half. Sevilla managed to get a bit more control in the second. It went to extra time. There wasn't many clear-cut chances. Smalling hitting the crossbar from a header from a corner, I believe it was, in the last moments of extra time before it got to penalties. That could have won the game for Roma. And then it goes to penalties. And you know what? I'm looking at the goalkeepers. I'm thinking that Sevilla goalkeeper, Bono, the one that plays for Algeria. Not Algeria, no. The Moroccan keeper. Yeah, the one that played for Morocco when they had that amazing run in the World Cup. Bono, he's a top keeper. He's a top keeper. He's massive. He's an amazing shot stopper. Good with his feet, and he's amazing at saving penalties. And I just had a feeling that he would be the difference in that game because Bono was a top keeper. How some of the big clubs haven't come in for him, because, you know, he plays at Sevilla. No disrespect to Sevilla, they're a big club. They win a lot of European trophies. They're back in the Champions League. But, you know, teams like, you know, Barcelona should be looking at him. Teams like Manchester United. Teams like Chelsea, they need a keeper. He's an upgrade from Ramsdale, definitely, for Arsenal. Bayern should be looking at him. He's top level, man. They didn't have a top keeper with Onana. Juventus should be looking at him. He's a top goalkeeper, that Bono. And he was the difference in the penalty shootout. A bit confusing from Roma. I don't understand why two centre-halves were taking the penalties. They had loads of attacking players on the pitch. I don't understand why two centre-backs took the penalties. I think it was Mancini, unfortunately, scored the own goal to make it 1-1 and unfortunately missed the penalty. But I'm not really a massive fan of centre-halves taking penalties unless they're, you know, really, really good at dead ball situations. I found that a little bit strange. I don't know if that was the players stepping up or Mourinho choosing them, or a little bit of both, but that was a little bit strange. If I was the gaffer, I would have tried to lean more to my attacking players, but, you know, it is what it is. Sometimes players just don't fancy it in that sort of situation. But yeah, the big talking point was the retaken penalty. Sevilla had their last penalty saved by the Roma goalkeeper, and Anthoni Taylor, the English referee, pulled it back. Apparently, the Roma goalkeeper was off his line, and that gave Sevilla, the last penalty taker, the opportunity to put the ball in the back of the net. Second opportunity to take the penalty that was saved, and he scored. He made no mistake. Argentinian player, he scored the winning penalty in the World Cup and also in the Europa League final. Nerves are still, but that infuriated Jose Mourinho, infuriated him, calling out Anthony Taylor's calling out Anthony Taylor's integrity, saying that he was leaning more towards the Spanish side, more towards Sevilla. Listen, I don't know, but I think English referees are crap. I think they are awful. I think the way the English officials use VAR is crap. I think they're awful. I think they are clueless. It does make people question, is there some sort of bias? Is there some sort of corruption within the game? I only look at some of the decisions that VAR got wrong for Arsenal. Not drawing a line in one of the offside decisions that cost Arsenal points. Anthony Taylor is a shit referee. He's not very liked domestically within the Premier League. So how he got this gig, top European game, I don't know. But he is crap. He is crap. Maybe Jose done something to pee him off in the past. Jose's been in England managing a long time with Chelsea in 2 spells, with Manchester United. Maybe Jose has pissed him off in the past and Anthony Taylor wanted a little bit of, maybe, people are human. People do have feelings. Biases do kick in. It don't matter what people think. The game shouldn't be in disrepute, but sometimes incidents come where the game is put into disrepute. Should Jose have handled it that way? Well, I love Jose. He's box office. He's emotion. He says it how it is. Probably he is going to get sanctioned by UEFA. But Anthony Taylor is shit. And he shouldn't be allowed to referee such big games. No way. And, his reasoning that the goalkeeper was off his line, I'm sure that, like during the World Cup, for example, Martinez, one of the best penalty savers in the world. Look at the antics he was doing. All the gamesmanship. And I watched those penalties. He was off his line a lot as well. A lot of the penalties he saved. But they never pulled those back. Why? Because Messi plays for Argentina. Nah, I reckon that the Roma goalkeeper didn't do anything that most goalkeepers don't do anyway. And I also think that Jose had a point. And I think that UEFA have a duty to investigate both sides. If there's even a 1% chance of biased or of a little bit of corruption or not calling the game fairly down the middle, UEFA should investigate. Because it wouldn't be the first. It's happened in the past and it's going to keep on happening in the future. And in order to keep the game as fair as possible, then UEFA should investigate if there was anything dodgy going on the official side. They should also investigate if Jose stepped over the line, but they also should investigate if he had a point. And if the officials were doing anything a little bit suspect, because stuff like this does happen. It has happened in the past and it will happen in the future. So to keep the integrity of the game, both sides should be investigated, I think. But guys, I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be covering the FA Cup final between Manchester United and Manchester City, and also transfer news. So guys, if you like the content, please smash the like, comment, share and subscribe. And I'll see you very soon tomorrow for the next one. Peace.